And this morning, we're going to talk a little business, employment, and technology, kind of all tangled into one. Well, this morning, our guest is Robert Gasser, and he's the Chief Revenue Officer at Revature. And where he's going to share with us is how his company, Revature, how they're helping with something that's going on with employment and in the technology industry. And what we will learn today is that there's a tech talent shortage in the industry, but their company, Revature, we're going to find out exactly what they're doing to help decrease that shortage. So we want those who work in tech to have more job opportunities. And there have been recent layoffs, and a new report has found that the demand for emerging tech talent has surged more than 200% since 2016. But the global tech workforce is still expected to have a shortage of 4.3 million workers by 2030. I know. Don't get scared. That's why we have Robert here with us. Well, welcome to Real Talk, Robert. I'm so glad to have you with us on the show.
Thank you, Tracy. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Well, Robert, can you share with us a little bit about what Revature, what you all do, and how it's connected, how you are connected to the technology industry?
Yeah, well, we're connected to a lot of industries, but we train software engineers, entry-level software engineers, and we've trained and deployed 10,000 of them in the last 5 years. They go through pretty intensive training in terms of becoming true commercial software engineers that work within a commercial environment. So what that means is you join a cohort of roughly 20, 25 people. You build projects together. You follow curriculums that's trainer-led entirely through the program. And then ultimately, when you graduate from that program, you're hired by an enterprise in the United States. And we serve 7 of the top 10 banks today. We serve a variety of different retailers, utilities, pharma companies, insurance companies. The list goes on, all household names that all of your listeners would recognize. And what we do simply is we close the opportunity gap for folks, and then we close the skills gap for employers. We don't care what degree you have. We don't care what school you went to. Those 10,000 folks went to 700 universities and colleges. So for us, it's all about aptitude, ability, motivation, and grit.
Now, for with everything that's going on in the tech industry, as I stated, they're saying there's going to be a shortage by 2030. 2030. I mean, that's huge. What did I say? 4.3 or 4.5 million?
Yes.
So talk a little bit about what that's going to look like and how you all and what you all are doing to help stop this shortage.
Well, yeah, we're doing quite a bit actually, but the reason for the shortage is every industry in the United States is digitizing, right? So they're adopting technology at a more rapid clip, and as a result, and this is global as well. So that number is a global number, but as a result, there's more and more demand for entry-level software engineers that have the right skill sets to basically to execute those against those technologies that we're talking about that make the world more digital. In the United States alone, about 90,000 folks a year graduate with a CS degree, but the demand probably in the coming year will be probably close to 400,000. So what we do is exactly what I described, which is we'll take you from a community college, a 4-year degree. Interestingly enough, the third largest major in our program is music. So don't think of yourself if you don't have a CS degree or you don't have something that's information technology related, you cannot become a software engineer. You'll be shocked. There's a ton of folks out there who have the same belief going in, but have been transformed and ultimately have entered the workforce as an entry-level software engineer within large companies, large Fortune 500 companies. And that's what we do. That's how we close the gap. We close the opportunity gap for folks that may or may not have the confidence going in, but coming out, they're joining, as I said, Fortune 500 firms at the entry level and are ready for an incredible empowerment in terms of their professional journey.
So ultimately, you're giving them hope. You're giving them the skill set and the opportunity to enter into this industry, like you said, to work for Fortune 500 companies. Now, with the tech industry, like you said, everything is becoming digitized. What are some of the responses that you've gotten from those who've come through your company, and how they've I'll say not exactly what they've produced on the other end, but with the companies they've connected with. What are some things that you're hearing from those who've worked with Revature?
Oh, it's transformational, Tracy, and that's really that's what gets me up in the morning, and all my colleagues. We're unified by this mission. It's transformational. 40% of our folks are college first generation grads. They've gone to schools that, may not be on the radar of one of our large Fortune 500 companies. But once they go through our program and they enter that workforce, they become different people. Now they are on a professional trajectory that they could have never envisioned. One of the things that before COVID, I had the opportunity to go out and meet with some of our folks that were being converted to full-time employees at one of the nation's largest top 3 banks in Chicago. And I went around the table and I asked them about their background. And they said, I went to Western Kentucky, and my first job out of school was the Lowe's landscaping department. I went to North Carolina A&T, and I worked as a Kroger grocery clerk. That's great. That's transformation. Mm-hmm. That's what we do. And those folks should never underestimate their ability to capture this opportunity.
And what is the average time frame of completing this program? I guess it would vary depending on where they're entering and when they're entering the program. But what's the average?
Right. The average is about 10 to 12 weeks in terms of the training. And then they'll be deployed for a year within a Fortune 500 company. And within that year, they'll be working for us. And the employer has the option to convert them at the 1 year mark. So at that 1 year mark, 85% of the time you are converted into a full-time employee. And one of the most interesting things for our employers, and I think it gets back to our demographic and the folks we serve, 89% of our folks are retained out to 4 years, which is, within this job environment, with a lot of churn, particularly in technology, that's extraordinary. And it goes back to the top of our recruiting funnel, and the people that we attract to the firm. They're loyal, right? When they get that job with a top 3 bank in the United States and they tell their parents they go back home, that's a source of pride. And, that's what really, I think, separates our folks from maybe some of the folks that a lot of these firms may be recruiting, on behalf of themselves.
I love that. I mean, when you say 10 to 12 weeks, that's actually a short amount of time. And to look at all that they will gain from that time, and even still being connected to you all, it sounds like the accountability is there in addition to the opportunities. So can you share a little bit more with our listeners of how they can begin this process, what they need to do to make those steps?
Yeah, that's a great question, Tracy. Well, you can go to our website. That's easy enough. That's www.revature.com. That's REVATURE.com. And you can apply to the program. And as part of that, we also, folks, they may not get through our screens the first time around. But what we do is we offer online training, self-paced, for free, 100 hours. You have the ability to connect with our trainers. You have the ability to connect with folks that are going through the same program. And at the end of that, if you pass our technical screens, which, more likely than not you will, then you can join our programs and be hired. So as opposed to going to a Coursera or another, online academy where you're paying them, you can take ours for free, no obligation. And ultimately, if you get through that online training, we'll hire you. So it's a pretty attractive, a pipeline of folks, and another pathway for folks to join Revature. And I think one of the things I just want to mention, Tracy, at the I know we're nearing the end of our talk here. Mm-hmm. Revature has 3 times the national average in terms of our workforce, Black and Hispanic American software engineers. And I like to say that diversity is not an initiative at Revature; it's just core to our DNA. Mm-hmm. It's just who we are. Right? Mm-hmm. It's the democratization of creating this opportunity that creates that. We don't go in there with intention to have 3 times or 4 times or 5 times. That's just a natural output of what we do.
I love it. I love what you said. It's a part of your DNA. Because on the other side of that, that could be a turnoff. Because people may feel like, oh, you're just trying to get me in just so you can, get the numbers up or, fill a situation up with what you're trying to gain. So I love it. It's a part of your DNA. Well, thank you so much for being with us on Real Talk this morning. And one more time, can you give us the website of where they can go to actually become a part of Revature?
Yes, www.revature.com.
Well, thank you for hanging out this morning on Real Talk, and hopefully we can have you back soon.
That's awesome, Tracy. Thank you. Enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, all of my listeners who are interested in entering the technology industry, or you feel you are good with technology, some of you all are. How do I know that? Because of the cell phones you have and the many videos I see on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. I know you all know how to make those YouTube videos. You may want to consider entering the technology world or the industry. He shared with us the many job opportunities that are available. So you know how to connect. Go to Revature.com. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. You've made many videos now, and you may just like working in that industry. You never know. And all the great things you're going to learn to take your skill sets higher. It's nothing better than, I think it's always a great thing to learn and become better at what you think you know. There's so much more for you to learn. So make sure you go to Revature.com.